Another low self-esteem prison guard who thinks destroying her career for a bit of naughty boy nookie is worth some of her own potential prison time. More care home cretins as yet another care home manager comes under fire for abusing residents. A sticky-fingered Gloucestershire police constable comes unstuck as he falls foul of a police integrity test. Metropolitan Police Chief Superintendent keeps his job after abusing his position to promote his partner's professional development. This and more coming up. Don't forget, these reports are daily, Monday to Friday. Please remember to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you do appreciate the work I do and understand that these topics can result in little to no YouTube monetization, please consider joining the channel Patreon for as little as just £3 a month to help me continue providing this content. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, innies, outies and in-betweeners. My name's Dan and welcome back to another PAP Reports. It's Friday, the 7th of August, 2020. Yet again, another female prison guard is caught with her pants down, figuratively speaking. 25-year-old Kerry-Ann Stevens, who works at HMP Swaleside on the Isle of Sheppey in Kent, appeared at Maidstone Crown Court on Thursday, where she admitted having a sexual relationship with convicted murderer Louis Tate. Tate was given a life sentence in 2010 for hitting father of three, Gary Frater, and with a vehicle near his home in North London in 2009. When Mr. Frater was crushed under the vehicle after it accelerated back over him and deliberately drove over him again before driving off. Kerry-Ann Stevens admitted misconduct over her inappropriate relationship with Tate and pleaded guilty to a charge of misconduct in a judicial or public office. Prosecutor Maria Carrascos said the misconduct charge against Stevens was very serious. Stevens was also charged with making unauthorised transmissions from inside a prison, to which she pleaded not guilty. Tate was also in court over making unauthorised transmissions from inside a prison, to which he pleaded guilty. Ms. Carrascos informed the court Stevens' not guilty plea was not acceptable to the Crown and the case is currently listed for trial next year. Tate is also due to be sentenced on October the 19th at the same court. The government, in their haste to continue their fear-installing tactics, have made a bit of a faux pas after ordering 50 million face masks, which will not now be used by NHS staff due to safety concerns. It appears that the government, in their rush, failed to do their due diligence and sample the items before placing their order from Ayanda Capital. The government are now being sued by the Good Law Project and Every Doctor over the contract. And I don't mean every doctor as in every doctor, but an organisation called Every Doctor. The court papers allegedly show that Ayanda Capital was awarded the contract worth $252.5 million on April the 29th and were paid $41.25 million to secure the manufacturing capacity of the order. It appears that the court papers also allege that the original sales approach came from a businessman called Andrew Mills, who is both an advisor to the UK Board of Trade and a senior board advisor at Ayanda. It's not a bit fishy at all, is it? However, Mr. Mills is said to have refuted that his position played any part in the award of the contract. Yeah, a bit like Bill Gates only wanting what's best for humanity rather than being set to benefit from vaccines. Director of the Good Law Project said the contract has revealed a real cause for alarm and asked what other failures remain undiscovered. In light of these revelations, Sir Keir Starmer said, for months we were told that the government was purchasing the right equipment for the front line. Yet again, it hasn't happened. There needs now to be an investigation, an inquiry into what went wrong with this particular contract, because it's just not good enough to people who need that protective equipment that we find ourselves in this position. A government spokesman said, "We have been working tirelessly to deliver PPE to protect people on the front line. There is a robust process in place to ensure orders are of high quality and meet strict safety standards with the necessary due diligence undertaken on all government contracts." A spokesperson for Ayanda Capital said the masks met all government specifications and standards. The masks are not unusable. The The masks are not unusable or unsafe, and the government has not wasted any money in purchasing these masks. Well, we'll see how this one pans out. Of course, as more time passes, more mistakes will be made and the truth will eventually out. Over the past month or so, it seems that care homes are becoming the new target for bullies and narcissists, as we've had spoken about several cases involving mistreatment of residents by care home staff. Now, let me be clear here, one of my sisters ran a care home and I know that the vast majorities are decently run and the residents are looked after incredibly well, but some seem to simply not care about the residents and use them as a form of entertainment for their sadistic and indecent pleasures. The manager of a £600 per week Cardiff care home for adults with dementia, Deborah Lewis, has been struck off for bullying residents, including telling staff to cut residents' meal portions and refusing residents desserts if they didn't eat all of their meal. Staff at a care home in Cardiff raised concerns about the behaviour of Deborah Lewis in January 2019 after she had been manager for more than 4 years. 6 members of staff and a manager at another home who investigated the claims provided statements at a fitness to practice hearing. More than one witness described incidents where Deborah Lewis spoke to staff in a rude and aggressive manner, which upset them. The hearing was also told Deborah Lewis behaved inappropriately to 2 of the home's residents, causing them to become distressed. In one incident, she shouted at a resident, telling her she was going to get her removed from the home, while in another, she behaved aggressively towards a resident who didn't want to use a stair lift. Lewis has now thankfully been removed from the Register of Social Care Workers after a Social Care Wales hearing found her fitness to practice was impaired because of serious misconduct. Although I wonder why 48-year-old Tina Bardsley from Grimsby has effectively been let off bullying and videoing herself verbally and mentally abusing poor old Jonathan Wheatley. Explaining its decision, the panel said, "We have found that Deborah Lewis behaved in an aggressive and uncompromising way to staff and residents and that she presided over an unhealthy culture within the home." The panel said, "We have concluded that Ms. Lewis breached the fundamental tenets of social care by failing to model caring behaviour to her staff and by treating the home's residents in a way which on occasions upset them or failed to respect their dignity. We have decided that a removal order is necessary, appropriate and proportionate. We have found that Deborah Lewis demonstrated long-standing and deep-seated attitudinal defects which resulted in harm to residents." Now, we spoke about it in yesterday's report, and today the bandwagon gets a new passenger. Let me be clear when I say I do not condone the death of anyone, except maybe the Jimmy Saviles of this world, but I do not in any way, shape or form promote or applaud the death of anyone outside of that. So when I talk about this case, I'm not diminishing the fact that he was killed, but I certainly have to stand up for what I believe in. Andrew's Law is something that Andrew Harper's widow and his mother are meeting with Boris Johnson and Priti Patel over in the coming weeks, which, if agreed on, will give harsher sentencing to those people who kill police or other emergency workers, I'm presuming. At least I hope the police and relatives of the police are not narcissistic enough to make it all about them. Well, Chief Constable of Northamptonshire Police, Nick Adderly, the same idiot who threatened to start searching people's shopping to see if their shopping trip was essential, has jumped on the bandwagon. And you can expect him, no doubt, to be the first of many. The premise of Andrew's Law is to give killers of police whole life sentences without the possibility of early release after PC Harper was killed, whilst on duty after being caught in a strap trailing from the back of a fleeing getaway vehicle. PC Harper's widow, Lizzie Harper, launched the campaign for Andrew's Law on Wednesday, backed by the Police Federation of England and Wales. Chief Constable Adderly said those who set out to commit a crime in which an officer is killed should automatically be sanctioned by a whole life term. Adderly made his comments in a Facebook question and answer as he started his 3rd year as the head of the force. He said he believed life imprisonment was necessary based on his experience at Greater Manchester Police, when PCs Hughes and Bone were killed in a gun and grenade ambush at the hands of Dale Cregan. He continued, "I do believe, I've said quite clearly, based on my own experiences when Nicola and Fiona were murdered in Manchester, anyone who is in the commission of a crime who assaults and kills a police officer should face a whole term tariff. They should face life imprisonment. The bit about where the law gets really complicated around murder and manslaughter is this bit. Did you set out to murder somebody, or did they just happen to get killed as a consequence? Which is why there has been a difference between murder and manslaughter for as long as there has been. Besides, I still don't quite understand why the life of a police constable is more superior to the life of the people that they are supposed to be protecting when they kill a member of the public. How about you answer that one, Mr. Adderly? Now, I understand it's incredibly difficult for a family to come to terms with his death. He was only married for 4 weeks before he died, but again, that makes him no more special than you watching this or me. But PC Harper's widow has said, I pledged to my late husband to never stop until I've made a difference that this country clearly needs. I vow to stand strong and firm with so many other honourable people in our country to make the changes that we clearly know to be justified. We want to bring in something called Andrew's Law. We want to change this so that you are sentenced to a proper amount of time, and that defines the crime that you've committed. We're hoping for a mandatory sentence with no early release, no reductions for being a certain age. Which to me undermines the law as it is, as in everybody being equal, and what the country clearly needs is for everyone to be accountable under the law. I'm pretty certain that if PC Harper had killed someone, it would be buried and no one would be calling for harsher sentences for police. I don't think this can be allowed to go through. I think it undermines the entire system. It gives the life of a police constable more value than the life of you, me, or one of our loved ones. And if this goes forward, along with harsher sentencing for supposed assaults on emergency workers, we're going to see things turn very ugly for the public when we come across sociopathic police constables who do want to do as much damage to someone's life as they possibly can. Sticky-fingered Gloucestershire Police Constable 38-year-old Matthew Rollison faced Judge Michael Longman at Bristol Crown Court yesterday, accused of theft after he stole from a lost wallet and a lost purse handed to him at Cheltenham Festival in 2019. He stole approximately £100 from a wallet and 2 days later stole £200 from a purse, which was caught on CCTV during a police integrity test. Something they clearly need to do much more of. Rollison, who was part of a crime operations team, resigned from the police in June last year, 2 months after the offences took place. Judge Michael Longman said the offences were as inexplicable as they were inexcusable. It is difficult to think of a more egregious breach of trust than a police officer on duty in uniform stealing money entrusted to him by one member of the public and belonging to another, he said. It was said in court that Rollison had no financial motive or reason to have taken the money. Prosecuting Mary Cow said Rollison had admitted it had been a moment of absolute stupidity, and that he said he thought whichever drunk person dropped it wouldn't know the difference. Fiona Elder, representing Rollison, said her client was of previous good character. Aren't they always? But had pressed the self-destruct button whilst working at the races by stealing the money. It was almost a release of pressure. Whether he was trying to wreck his career, he certainly achieved that, she said. He acted in a way which was entirely out of character and pressed a button he just couldn't go back from. Judge Michael Longman gave him a 12-month prison sentence, suspended for 2 years. He issued a rehabilitation requirement for 18 months, imposed a curfew for between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. that would be electronically monitored, and fined him a total of £600. Last month we shared the story of some Brighton police constables who had detained a man, which was caught on camera, where the lad is seen on the floor continually telling the police to get off his neck, and that he couldn't breathe and that they were crushing his neck before making some pronounced throat noises in what appeared to be an attempt to make it sound as though he was struggling to breathe, when it was pretty clear that he wasn't. The incident is supposed to have happened after police arrived at an address looking for a missing girl who turned out to be at the address, but the man refused to let police access the property and was, I believe, arrested for obstruction before he allegedly started struggling and ultimately ended up on the floor. But my view that he certainly wasn't in any discomfort from police being on his neck still stands, but police are now said to be investigating the constable for what happened before the filming started. Of course, the arrest happened while everyone was going crazy about convicted criminal George Floyd dying during his arrest at the hands of Minneapolis police. Sussex Police said yesterday on the 6th of August the Independent Office for Police Conduct has confirmed it is investigating after Sussex Police made a voluntary referral following an incident in Montpellier Road, Brighton on the 7th of July. Video footage was shared widely on social media of the arrest and restraint of a man on the ground. After body-worn video footage in relation to the whole interaction was seen by the IOPC and Sussex Police's Professional Standards Department, it was decided that Sussex Police would solely refer the matter relating to an interaction prior to the restraint in the street, which did not form part of the published video. A male officer stationed at Brighton and Hove is being investigated by the IOPC for misconduct. The officer has not been suspended but is working non-public facing duties pending the outcome of the IOPC investigation. Advice was sought from specialist staff safety trainers in relation to the restraint and the technique used, which is approved by the Home Office, and this was considered appropriate and proportionate. An investigation by Sussex Police Professional Standards Department into a second video shared showing an arrest in York Road, Brighton on Friday 26th of June concluded there were no misconduct issues there either. Of course, we can only give the information that's available at the time and based on what information we have. There appears to be nothing about the video footage that's in question, but if the police constable did commit misconduct in his dealing with the man before the video started, then obviously that's a whole other matter, and it's good to see that investigation is being said to be taking place into something that may or may not have been captured or evidenced on camera, which I guess gives some hope to the public that at least some crimes that may be able to be hidden from the public are being investigated. A Metropolitan Police Chief Superintendent Rob Atkin, Commander for the South East, has been given management advice after allegations against him over breaching the standards of professional behaviour in respect of authority, respect and courtesy, honesty and integrity, and confidentiality. A lineup of allegations I've seen many a lesser cop be fired for. The allegations stem from 2015 when Atkin was appointed mentor to a constable who was a candidate for accelerated promotion. I think somebody forgot to tell her that unlike other accelerated promotions, she didn't have to nosh off the chief super. However, a personal relationship ensued, and during their personal relationship, which Atkin failed to disclose, as is the rules, Chief Superintendent Atkin abused his position to promote her professional development through postings and promotion opportunities. He also allowed her to see assessment papers beforehand, which gave her an unfair advantage. On Friday the 31st of July at a misconduct hearing, it was found that, in part, Chief Superintendent Atkin breached the standards of professional behaviour in respect of confidentiality, and this was at the level of misconduct. They also found the female officer did see the papers, but it was not proven that Chief Superintendent Atkin allowed that to happen, nor that he was attempting to provide her with an unfair advantage. Of course not. The panel considered Chief Superintendent Atkin made unwise decisions and showed poor judgment rather than displaying deliberate wrongdoing, and therefore the breaches proven were at the level of misconduct and not gross misconduct. Of course, poor misjudgment, nothing at all to do with the fact that he was banging her. The IOPC is said to be investigating a West Yorkshire police constable after he appeared to kneel on a 17-year-old Leeds United fan's neck outside Ellen Road Stadium. The investigation will be that of a criminal and misconduct investigation, and the constable will be interviewed on suspicion of common assault. The incident took place on July 17th at around 5 p.m, and police are of course seeking witnesses. The video was released online of the incident, which I've not yet had the time to find, which initiated the constable being removed from frontline duties. Miranda Biddle, IOPC Regional Director, said, after the footage was shared on social media, a voluntary referral was made to us in relation to the conduct of the officer. Having examined a range of evidence, including body-worn video and initial accounts from the officers involved in the restraint, we have taken the decision that this is now a criminal investigation. A criminal investigation does not mean that a criminal charge will necessarily follow. And don't we just know it? It is vitally important that the circumstances of this incident are subject to an independent investigation so we can fully understand what happened and impartially determine the facts. We have already begun to gather evidence, but would like to speak to anyone else who was at Leeds United's ground at the same time for those celebrations and may have witnessed the incident. Big thank you to all of the supporters of the channel, especially channel Patreon supporters. Of course, your support is truly appreciated. And that's all I have for you today. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police, film other officials, and have a great weekend.
Good night, all.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.